Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again. And on this edition of Voices Big and Small, I'm going to be looking at the career of Karen Strassman, a LA-based voice actress with dual citizenship in France and the United States. So, without no further ado, let's get started. So, Karen Strassman, born June 5th, 1966 in Washington, D.C. Also, her also is credited as KRISTY PAPE and Mia Bradley on some of the. Okay, so Karen Strassman is an American voice actress who has provided English language voices for Japanese anime shows, animation, and video games. Some of her major roles are Callan um, Stadfeld in the Code Geass series, Miyuki Takara in Lucky Star, Nina Fortner in Monster, Ryder in Studio Dean's Fate Stay Night, Sui Ginto, the first Rosen Maiden doll in Rosen Maiden, Sawako Yamanaka in K-On, Shola Yui, Nawada Rei Sophia Ri in Fate Zero, and then Momo Hinamori and Soifan in Bleach. In live action production, she portrayed Jolene in the television show Weeds. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Strassman enjoyed acting at a young age and was involved in school plays. When she was 20, she had moved to France to study psychology and theater at CNSAD in Paris. Um, in an interview with Slink FM, okay, in an interview with Slink FM, she she said she picked psychology as a ways to earn a living in case theater did not pan out. While there, she saw an advertisement calling for actors who could speak English. She got an apprenticeship with Studio VO-VF, um, where she trained as a dialect coach. After a year, she was offered a paid position where she trained older French actors on how to act in English. An interesting path for her, to say the least. She also taught kids, where she was recruited by two women who produced a magazine called Hi Dash Kids, which would produce audio cassettes. It was there where she started doing voiceover. Um, she would later do French and English dubs and got into video game voiceover. She probably did voiceover work in French for Air France, Eurostar, and Disneyland Paris, and for audio tours of the Louvre and Musée d'Orsay. As a dialect coach, she worked with Lancome Advertising. Oh, interesting stuff here. It also says here that Strassman is a naturalized French citizen. She is also fluent in French. So that's some of the basic information about Karen Strassman. Now we're gonna look at some of the roles she had over the years, and starting with this video, I'm going to I'm gonna try to do more of their voice work. I'm not just gonna just cover the anime shows themselves or the animation show. I'm also like I will you know, look at the video game movies and all that as well. So without no further ado, her voiceover career essentially started back in 1992 here with the video game Dune in which she was cast as the voice of Shawnee in it. Then in 1994, she was cast as Olivia in the TV show Orson and Olivia. As we continue in 1994, she was cast in the video game Dragon Lord: The Legend Begins as a couple of characters as Hela okay Helenia de Artica and Tenathia Hymenaf. Try saying that a few times fast. Again, I'm guessing that's a lot of that's French. So then, as we move ahead to 1995, she was cast in the video game Lost Eden as the English voices of Eve, Talumi, and Komala. Then, as we move ahead to 1996, she was cast as in the video game Amazing Learning Games with Rayman as Batilla the Fairy. Then in 1997, one of her first roles in 1997, she was cast in the video game Atlantis: The Lost Tales as Anna, Queen Rhea, and Sama. And then in 1998, she was cast as Lady Shoshui in China the Forbidden City, in the video game China for the Forbidden City. 1999, she was cast in the video game Border Zone as Akiko Kurashana. And as we move ahead further in 1999, she was cast as a number of characters in Atlantis 2 Beyond Atlantis video game as Queen Rhea, Bat God, Spider Goddess, and Fire Alchemist. Furthermore, in 1999, she was cast in the video game Outcast as Talons. And then also in 1999, she was cast in the video game Freddy Fish 4: The Case of Hogfish Rustlers of Briny Gulch as Orchid Squid. Then, as we move ahead to 2000, she was cast in the video game Egypt 2: The Heliopolis Prophecy as Colt, Maya, and the Tavern Owner. We move further ahead. In 2000. She was cast in the video game Aztec: The Curse in the Heart of the City of Gold as Priestess Papatzine, Flower of Stone, and Merchant Woman 2. Also in 2000, she was cast as Alice in the video game Lexus Numerique's Alice in Wonderland. We move forward here. He was cast in the 2000 video game Arthur's Knights Tales of Chivalry as Lady Lutis, Ferdia, and Phidia. Also, then, as we move ahead to 2001, she was cast in the video game The Secrets of Alamut as Catel's widow and Spectress. Then also in 2001, she was cast in Atlantis 3: The New World as the Merchant's Daughter, Fisher Boy, Red Harem Girl, and Blue Harem Girl. Then in 2002, she was cast in the 2002 video game The Shadow of Zorro as Agatha and the Maid. Then we get her first movie credit here in 2002 as well. She was cast in the movie Gundress as Takako Horaji, the English voice of such. Then in 2002, she was cast in the TV show anime series Strawberry Eggs as a teacher. She was also cast as Satsuki Yotoji in X, Series X. Then also in 2002, she was cast in Don Geyser 3 as Reika Fo and Natsuki. She was also cast in I, Yori Ayoshi in 2003 as Maya Miyuki, a cute anime series that you guys might want to check out. Then also in 2003, she was cast as Yuzuki in Chobits. She was also cast in 2003 in the anime series Great Teacher Onizuka as Naoko Izumi and Mizuki Yokoyama. She was cast also as Konoha Edejima in the anime in 2003 in the anime series Please Teacher. Um, Also in 2003, she was cast in the English dub of 12 Kingdoms as Yuka Sugimoto. Also in 2003, she was cast in the English dub of Heat Guy J as Fia Oliveira. So I'm gonna just go through the rest of the 2003 ones, and then I'll let you know when I move on to. So also in 2003, she was cast in Rugrats All Grown Up as Luca and German Woman. She was cast as Neimu in Haibane Renmei. She was cast in the video game Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds as Cassandra Rain. She was cast as Kasumi Fuji in Sakura Wars the movie. She was also cast as Chie in Witch Hunter Robin. And last but not least, in 2003, she was cast as Delphine Heraclea in Last Exile. Now, as we move on to 2004, here are some of the roles that she played in 2004. One of the first roles she was cast in 2004 was as Suzu Sakuma in Marmalade Boy. She was also cast as Catherine Flaubert in the English dub of Gadgard. She was cast as the English voice for Ren Renge in Stelvia. In Requiem from the Darkness, she was cast as Ogun. In Lunar Legend Tsukihime, she was cast as Ayako Aozaki. Then in the video game Ace Combat 5 The Unsung War, she was cast as Kei Nagase/Edge. And that was it for 2004. Now as we move to 2005, in DG Carrot, she was cast as Petite Carrot. I believe this is probably the Bang Zoom dub of it. She was cast as Osuzu in Samurai Champloo. Also in 2005, she was cast in the Appleseed movie as the English voices of Hitomi and Dr. Gillian Newt. She was also cast in Daphne in The Brilliant Blue as the English voices of Millie and Ai Mayu Zumi. She was cast as the English voice of Shoko Akimoto in Koikaze. And then in Scrap Princess, she was cast as the English voices of Stare and Fafel. She was also cast as Makiko Nagi in Tenjo Tenge. In Planete, she was cast as Sia's mother. In Grenadier, she was cast as Fuka Shirato. In Deers, she was cast as the English voice of Ren. In Naruto, I guess the Naruto franchise, she was cast. Well, actually, in Naruto, she was cast as Kagero. Um, she was cast as the English voice of Claudia in the video game Romancing Saga. She was also cast as in Gankutsuo, the cast of Monte Cristo, as the English voice of Mercedes Morses. She was cast as the English voice of Io in Avenger. In Bottle Theory, she was cast as the English voice of Shiriri. She was cast in IGPX Immortal Grand Prix as the voice of Fantine Valjean. Um, oh wait, that was actually in 2006. So we're now into 2006. So now I'm gonna go through the what she was cast in. The first role she was cast in IGPX was in IGPX as Fantine Valjean. Then she was also cast in the video game Suikoden 5 as Shalids. She was also cast in the video game Rumble Roses 10 as Miss Spencer and the Mistress. She also provided the English voice in Gunnex Sword of Fasalina. She was also cast in the video game Enchanted Arms as Sayaka. She also provided the English voice in Bleach for Soifan, Momo, Hinamori, and Shun. Then she was also cast in the video game Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria as Jessica, Lilia, Mildia, Rochelle, and Sylphide. A lot of credits there, huh? Then she was also cast in Dead or Alive Extreme 2 as Helena Douglas. She was cast in the video game Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles as Karin Kagura. In Ergo Proxy, she was cast as the English voices of Samantha Ross and the Police Cat. Um, she was also cast in Hellsing Ultimate as the English voices of Heinkel Wolf and Pip Bernadette, the young version of Pip Bernadette. She was also cast as Ryder in Fate Stay Night, the English voice of Ryder in Fate Stay Night. She was also cast as Mint Adenade in Tales of Fantasia, the animation. Oh, that was actually 2007. So now we're through 2006, getting to her credits in 2007 here. Her first role in 2007, she was casted, was as Mint Adenade in Tales of Fantasia, the animation. Also in 2007, she was cast in the video game R. Tonelico Melody of Elamia as Misha Arcelic Lune. She was cast as the voice of Gwendolyn in the Odin Sphere video game. Also in 2007, she was Sui Ginto in Rosen Maiden. She cast the English voice of Sui Ginto, Rosen Maiden. She was cast as the English voice of Candace in Mare. Also in 2007, she was cast in the anime Kashimashi Girl Meets Girl as the English voice of Yasuna Kamizumi. She was also cast in the Persona 3 video game as Algis and Natsuki Moriyama. Also in 2007, she was cast in the video game Warriors Orochi as Okuni. She's also cast as in the video game Soul Nomad, and the World Eaters as Shauna, Alexemia, and Euphoria. She also reprised her roles as Momo Hinamori and Sorifan in the Bleach Shattered Blade video game. She reprised her role in Rose. She reprised her role from Rosen Maiden. She reprised her role of Sui Ginto in Rosen Maiden Tramend. And also in 2007, she was cast in the video game Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles as Terra and Iris. She was cast in the video game Bladestorm: The 100 Years War as Joan of Arc. Pretty famous character, huh? Joan of Arc. Um, Also, she was cast in the video game Trauma Center New Blood as Elena Salazar. Okay, and then that's it for 2007. Now, as we move into 2008, here are some of the roles she was cast in 2008. In Blue Dragon, she was cast in the role of Valkyrie in Blue Dragon. She was cast as the English voice of the Vines in the movie The Ruins. Then also in 2008, this is when she got the role of Callan Stadfeld in Code Geass Lelouch Lelouch of the Rebellion. Then she reprised her role as Algis in the Persona 3 FES video game. She was also cast as Mahiro Muto in the English voice of Mahiro Muto in the Bushorenkin anime. Then in Lucky Star, she was cast as Miyuki Takara. And then in the video game Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon, she was cast as Shima Magnoli. Also in 2008, she was cast in the Final Fantasy VI video game as Rosa Thero and Barbaricha. She was also cast in the anime series Gurren Lagann as the English voice of Kiyo Bachika. Also in 2008, she was cast in the video game Soul Calibur 6 or Soul Calibur 4 as Shura and Custom Female 5. She reprised the role of Okune in Warriors Orochi 2 that came out in 2008. In the video game Disaster Day of Crisis, she was cast as Iris Brooks. Then she reprised her role as Soifan in the movie Bleach Memories of Nobody. And then also later in 2008, she would reprise her role as Callan Stadford in Code Geass Lelouch of the Rebellion R2. Then she was cast as the voice of Lenarche in the Eternal Poison video game. In the video game Castlevania Judgment, she was cast as Carmilla. She was then cast in the video game Persona 4 as Nanako Dojima and Izanami. Now that's all that we have for 2008 credits. We're now getting ready to move ahead to 2009. In 2009, one of her first roles that she earned was in the anime Huntic, or in the animation Huntic Secrets and Seekers as Zalia Moon. She was then cast in the video game R. Tonelico 2 Melody of Metaphalica. She reprised her role the earlier series of Misha, Arcelik, Loon, and Kokona Bartel. Actually, she reprised both roles. Okay. Then in All My Buddha, she was cast the English voice of Sumi Iku Ina. Then in the video game Tenchu Shadow Assassins, she was cast as Rinshi. Then she was cast in the video game Rune Factory Frontier as Lara. And then she was cast in the video game Cross Edge as Wim. And oh, again, she apparently in this game Cross Edge she also played the role of Misha Arcelik Loon from the earlier Warriors Orochi series. So, I guess Cross Edge was another branch of the video game. And then she reprised her role as Wim in Mana Kima 2, The Fall of Alchemy. She then reprised her role as Soifan in the movie Bleach, The Diamond Dust Rebellion. Then, also in 2009, she was cast in The Blade of the Immortal anime as the English voices of Hyakuren and Oren. Then in Monster, she was cast as Nina Fortner / Anna Lieber. Then in the League of Legends video game, she was cast as Cassiopeia, Flora, and Fiora, and Shyvana. Then she was cast in Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles as Alexia Ashford. She was cast as Lisa Garland in the video game Silent Hill: Shattered Memories. She was cast as Veronique and Franziska in the Saboteur video game. In Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, she was cast as the English voice of Loni Garvey. That was 2010. Sorry, we're now up to 2010, starting with Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn as Loni Garvey. Also in 2010, she was cast in the video game of Fragile Dreams: Farewell Ruins of the Moon as Sai. Also in 2010, she was cast in Sakura Wars So Long My Love as Diana Caprice. In the Mimana ER Chronicle video game, she was cast as Melrose Kirsch. And then she apparently reprised her role as Helena Douglas in Dead or Alive Paradise in 2010. In the Konokan anime, she was cast as Iku Sahara. In the Persona 3 portable video game, she reprised her role as Algus. In the Castlevania Harmony of Despair video game, she was cast as the voice of Yoko Belnades. Then in Valkyrie Chronicles 2, she was cast as Juliana Everhart. Then she would reprise her role as Okuni in Samurai Warriors 3. Then in the video game Sengoku Basara Samurai Hero, she was Saika Magoichi. She was also cast in Fallout New Vegas as Ghouls, that video game. And then from what I'm seeing here, she would actually be cast in a number of Sonic games as Rouge the Bat. So here are some of the Sonic games that she was involved in as Rouge the Bat, including Sonic Free Riders, Sonic Colors. Those are both in 2010. Then that finishes up 2010. Now, as we move on to 2011, she was cast as Sawako Yamanaka in the the English voice of Sawako Yamanaka in the K-On! Anime. Then she was cast in God Eater's Burst video game as Annette Koenig. Then she would reprise her role as Kokona Bartel in R. Tonelico Oga Nell of RCL. Then she was cast in Mortal Kombat 9 as the voices of Kitana and Melina. In the Konokan OVA, she reprised her role as the English voice of Iku Sahara. She would then once again reprise her role as the English voice of Soifan in Bleach Soul Resurrection video game. Then she would be cast as Misaki Izuna in the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overlocked video game. Then in the Rune Factory Tides of Destiny video game, she was cast as Mervyn. Also in 2011, she was cast in Might and Magic Heroes 6 video game as Katsui. Then she would reprise her role of Rouge the Bat in Sonic Generations, as well as Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympics. And then she would reprise her role as Soifan in the Bleach Fade to Black movie. She would reprise her role as Sui Ginto in Rosen Maiden Overture anime. Then also, okay, and that's the end of 2011. So now we're getting into 2012, where to start off 2012, she was cast in the Never Dead video game as Cypher. She was cast as a reporter in Resident Evil Revelations video game. Then she was also cast in Puella Magi Madoka Magica as the English voice of Kazuko Saotomi. Then in Mosuno, the anime Mosuno, she was cast as the English voices of Jinja, Medea, Commandant Marshal Charlemagne, and Grandma Future. Also in 2012, she was cast in the movie Little Big Panda as Manchu. And then in Street Fighter X Tekken, she was cast as Poison. Street Fighter Tekken video game, she was cast as Poison. She reprised her role as Ryder in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. She would then reprise her role as Sawako Yamanaka in K-On! 2 exclamation points, the second season of K-On!, basically. Then in Persona 4 Arena, she would reprise her roles as Algus and Nanako Dojima. She would also voice Nanako Dojima in the Persona 4 animation anime. She would reprise her role as Helena Douglas in Dead or Alive 5. And then she was cast as the English voice of Hanako in Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan in 2000. Also, she was cast as the English voice of Michelle Newhouse in Blue Exorcist. She was cast as Fi in the video game Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. And finishing it off in Persona 4, she was cast in Persona. She would reprise her role as Nanako Dojima in Persona 4 Golden. So that's the crust of it through 2012. As we move ahead to 2013, she was cast in Lagrange, The Flower of Rini in 2013 as the English voice of Muginami. She was cast in the video game Fire Emblem Awakening as Anna and Olivia. She was also cast in the video game StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm as Isha. And then in 2013, she was also cast in the anime Fate Zero as the English voices of Sola Ui. Sola Ui, Nuada Rei, Sophia Ri, and Assassin Asako. She was also cast in the Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon video game as Mirabelle. She would once again reprise her role as Sawako Yamanaka in K-On! The Movie. Then she was cast in the 2013 Mickey Mouse short as Cinderella and French Poodle. Also in 2013, she was cast as a few characters in Magi, The Labyrinth of Magic, as Zainab, Paimon, Anise, Sasa, Elizabeth, and Ekaterina. Six characters in Magi. She was the English voices of all of those characters in Magi, Labyrinth of Magic. She was also cast in the 2013 Killer Instinct video game as Arya. And that's all for 2013. As we move ahead to 2014, she was cast in the video game of Bravely Default as Mephilia Venus. She was then cast as Valentine in The Witch and the 100 Knight video game. She was also cast in the Smite video game as Liberté Athena. And then she was cast in the movie Monster High Frights Camera Action as Elisabeth Veronica. She was then cast as Narika in the Conception 2 Children of the Seven Stars video game. She was then cast in the Demon Gaze video game as La Seloma Beowulf. And then she was cast in the Mind Zero video game as Lena Albertine. And then in Ultra Street Fighter 4 video game, she reprised her role as Poison. She was cast in Toradora as the English voices of Yasuko Takasu and Nanako Kashi. She was also cast in Knights of Sidonia as Eiko Yamano. And then in the Puella Magi Madoka Magica, the movie Part 2 Eternal, she would reprise her role as Kazuko Sawatome. She would also, so she reprised her role in the two Madoka Magica movies, Part 1 The Beginnings, Part 2 Eternal, as Kazuko Sawatome. She would reprise those roles. Also in 2014, she was cast in Kill La Kill as Omiko Hakodate. Then she was cast in Gargantua on the Virtuous Planet as Striker and Parame. Then in the video game R No Surge, Ode to an Unborn Star, she was cast as the voice of Renal Tartalka. Then she reprised the role of Algus in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax video game. Also, she reprised the role as Algus in the Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth video game. Then in the Coppelion anime, she was cast as the English voice of Yukiko Kawabata. And that's all for 2014. Then as we come into 2015, she was cast in Dorara X2 as the English voice of Emilia Kishitani. And then she was cast as as Principal Revenant in the movie Monster High Haunted. Then she was Erd in Sword Art Online 2, English voice of Erd in Sword Art Online 2. Um, she would reprise her role of Anise as well as being the voice of English voice of Marguerite in Magi, the Kingdom of Magic. She would then reprise her role as Kazuko Saotomi in the Puella Magi Madoka Magica movie Rebellion. Then she would reprise her roles as Kitana and Melina in Mortal Kombat 10. Then she would be cast as the English voice of Casval Rem Daikun in Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. And then in the video game Omega Quintet, she was cast as Shiori. Then in Lord of Magna Made in Heaven video game, she was cast as Debonair, Charmonix, and Noelle. Then in the Lego Dimensions video game, she was cast as Pixel P.I.X.A.L. Guess you pronounce it Pixel. Then she was cast in as Catty Noir in Monster High Boo York, Boo York. Then she would reprise her role as Nanako Dojima in the Persona 4 Dancing All Night video game. Then in the Popples 2015 TV show, she was cast as Miss Shush. She was also cast in the Nutcracker Sweet SWEET movie as Fritz. She was cast as a murderess in Xenoblade Chronicles 10 video game. And then in the anime Love Live School Idol project. Okay, well, hold on. So now we're heading into 2016. So the Xenoblade Chronicles credit was our last 2015 credit. So now we're moving on to 2016, where she was cast as Principal Minami in Love Live School Idol project. Also in 2016, she reprised her role as Poison in Street Fighter 5 video game. Then she was in in the Fire Emblem Fates video game, she was cast as Hana, Mozu, and Anna. She reprised her role as Rouge the Bat in Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games video game. She was cast in the anime as the English voice of Takeshi's mother in the anime Your Lie in April. Then she reprised her role as Mephilia Venus in Bravely Second End Layer video game in 2016. She was then cast as Palm Siberia, the English voice of Palm Siberia in the 2016 dub of the 2011 Viz Media. Okay, she was cast as Palm Siberia in the 2016 Viz Media dub of the 2011 Hunter x Hunter series. Try saying that 3 times fast. Also in 2016, she was cast in Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blood Orphans as the English voices of Tomomi Burstein, Sakura Pretzel, Yamazine Toka, and the young Mikazuki August. She was then cast in the Barbie Dreamtopia movie as Delia and Ferns. She was cast in the Zero Time Dilemma video game as Phi. Then she reprised her role in as Principal Minami in Love Live, the School Idol movie. She was then cast in the video game God Eater Rage Burst as Lika Kusunoki. Then she was cast as the English voice of Nozomi in the video game Shin Megami Tensei 6 Apocalypse. She was then cast in the Asterisk War, the English voices of Sister Therese and Hilda Jane Rollins. She was also cast in the Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky video game as Yui Mitosagi. In the Killing Floor 2 video game, she was cast as Natalie Daubert. She was also cast in the Shantae Half Genie Hero video game as Sky. Then she reprised her role as Saika Magoichi in the video game Sengoku Basara End of Judgment. Then it looks like she reprised her roles as Anna, Olivia, and Hannah in the Fire Emblem Heroes video game of 2017. Then she was also involved in I believe it was the Viz or Bang Zoom dub 2007. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, now we're into 2017. So moving on to 2017 here, she was reprised her role in Fire Emblem Heroes as Anna, Hannah, and Olivia. And then she would be cast in the 2016 Berserk. Okay, so she actually earned the role of Casca in the 2017 Bang Zoom dub of the 2016 Berserk series. She was also cast as Kanata Saotome in the Kiba's Beat video game. She voiced the role of Kathy White in Resident Evil Vendetta. She was also cast as Midler as the English voice of Midler in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. She was also cast as Foxy in OK KO Let's Be Heroes. In the Monster High Adventures of the Ghoul Squad TV show, she was a Normie mom and Olivia. She would then reprise her roles as Olivia and Anna in the Fire Emblem Warriors video game. She was also cast in Skip Beat as Shoko Aoki. She was cast as the English voice of Irene Hanma in the English dub of Ano Hana, the flower we saw that day. She would reprise the role of Rouge the Bat in the Sonic Forces video game. Then in the Monster Hunter World video game, she was the provisions manager. She was cast in the Detective Pikachu video game as Rose Milton. Then in the Conan Exiles video game, she was cast as Mariella the Artisan. In the Subway Surfer short, she was cast as Tricky. She would reprise her role as Algus in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Now we're into 2018. We've been in 2018, so let me go back through those again. I'm sorry. So in 2018 was when she was cast as a provisions manager in the Monster Hunter World video game, as well as Rose Milton in Detective Pikachu video game. In the Conan Exiles video game of 2018, she was Mariella the Artisan. Tricky in Subway Surfer short in 2018. Reprising her role as Algus in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Also in 2018, she was cast as Washu in I Tenchi Muyo. Then she was cast as Liala in the English dub of The Testament of Sister New Devil Burst. She would once again reprise her role as Algus in Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight video game. Okay, so that finishes off 2018. So now we're up to the last few roles. These are the current roles she's doing as of 2019. These are the roles she earned in 2019. She is the voice of Annette Birkin in the Resident 2 Evil 2019 video game. She reprised her role as Helena Douglas in Dead or Alive 6. In the Left Alive video game, she is the voice of Sofia Grigorovina Alexieva. I'm saying that one 3 times fast. In the Code Geass Luch of the Resurrection movie, she has reprised her role as Kalin Kozuki. She's basically reprising the role of Kalin, but I guess she must have married a character or something like that. Then she reprised the role of Rosa Bat in Team Sonic Racing. She was also cast as a cafe owner in Lupin the Third Part 5. And she reprised her role as Anna in the Fire Emblem Three Houses video game, as well as reprising her role as Rosa Bat in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. So those are all of her credited roles, all the credited roles of Karen Strassman, who is based out of LA. Wow, this is a long one I did. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Yeah. Might have to consider moving these back to 5 o'clock instead of 5:30. Considering how long they've been going. I won't as of yet. I may in the future if they all take this long. But anyways, as you guys know, if you guys want to meet some of these voice actors, the best way to do it is to get them invited to the con. The way you do that is by contacting your local cons and asking them to invite them. And if you check the links below, you can, if you want to contact me directly, you can direct message me on Discord. Check out the Discord. As you know, I'm still promoting a bunch of different dub companies. Funimation is not the only game in town. I'm still promoting the GoFundMe as always, guys. Don't feel like you have to donate. If you have the means to, it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you donated before, please consider donating again. And if you can't donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to the conversations with you. I usually will get back to you as soon as I can, as long, of course, as it's civil and respectful. And with that, guys, I hope to catch you at the premiere of this on Friday. If um, if I don't, then I will see you on Monday. Bye.